I started as a young child. My great-grandmother was the first person that taught me how to do a drawing of a person's face. And she was an artist in like the late 1800s. She went to Pratt. And from then on, I always wanted to draw. I would look at clouds and find figures in the clouds. Everything I saw, a figure or a pattern. Later on, I went to Brooklyn College, and I majored in fine arts. I loved it. My first class there that I had in art made me fall in love with the whole process. And I have a BA in fine arts, and I continued my art from then until now, presently.
Well, I started, I'd say as a young child. I was raised in a little town in Pittsburgh, about 12 miles out from, well, in a small town called Cresses Terrace. Very small enclave of black folks surrounded by all the white community, surrounding community. And in school at that time, I remember telling this teacher that I wanted to be an artist, Miss Fitzgerald. She said, oh no, she poo-pooed it. But I would see my mother. My mother was a beautician. I would see her recreating beauty every day, recreating these women. And at that time, I wanted to be like a fashion illustrator. They had the school called the Art Institute of Pittsburgh that I aspired to. And also, they had this Carnegie Mellon University, but at that time, there really wasn't many blacks in the school. And I remember going down to the museum and seeing Elzevir Couture's portrait down there, and that was the beginning of just this love of doing art. And there was a group, I'd say I've been influenced by many groups, because at this time there was a group in Pittsburgh, because I'm from this small town now. You know, we're in the country, and I go downtown to the city, and that was where I thought the artists were, the artists and musicians, and I was the youngest one in this group called Group One. It was a group of many white women, men, and I was the youngest one at the time. But that was my main influence in going into art. And from that time, after that, I came into New York to study at Cooper Union. I was looking in a magazine, I saw art and free, and at the time my boyfriend had come to New York and I wanted to be with him. So I applied to Cooper Union. I got in, so I stayed there for a while, and then I went back to Pittsburgh to Carnegie Mellon and got a BFA in painting and printmaking. And after that, I was teaching in the New York City school system, and they had a special program for teachers at Maryland Institute College of Art. So I got an MFA from Maryland Institute. So then here I am. It's been a long journey. An exciting journey too, I must say.
Well, my mother would, draw pictures for me as a young child, and I would find it fascinating, to see how you could take a blank piece of paper and something would appear. And then I was about 14 years old, I met Ani Millar, who remains a friend, and she's 88 years old. And I had the pleasure of living with her when I was a young girl as a single mother with my son, Craig. And Ani would always encourage me. At that time, I was painting and writing. And for a period of time, I had moved away from my art because I was in a position of, as we go, each of us go through process and finding yourself and working through yourself. But I would always come back to my art. And I went into the theater for a period of time, and then about, I think it was in '98, I returned to my painting with a vengeance. And Ani said to me, I understand you're painting again. I said, yes. She said, well, I'm doing a show called The Tree. And that was my welcoming through her back, with my art, and I immediately showed. I didn't wait. I had decided from being in theater that I didn't have to give my power away in always wanting, the thing is, you're very vulnerable. We all are as beings and artists, and we always want the acknowledgement. But the thing is, I have to give respect to so many people, like Sheila Goloporoko at Goloporoko Studios. Ramona and I work there together. And there's Shayla Marbain, and of course, my dear friend and mentor, Ani Millar, my husband, John Falk, and my family, and many of my friends. And then to the creator who has helped me unfold, because my work is about healing. There's different my work is about healing, color, and light. Sometimes I don't even understand my work. I want to turn off the thinking process to see what is coming out viscerally and not worry about whether it's pretty or if it's ugly, but just kind of find it, see it, and face it, and let it be. And that basically is what I do.
MLJ. So what made you want to do that?
Well, it seemed to me that people always talk about this is this and that is that, and they never really go to the source. And so instead of talking about how females paint, what females paint, why females paint, gather a group of females that you think really know what they're doing and are not afraid to talk about what it is that they do, and let them say what it is they do. And I think that's exactly what the show does.
Really know what they're doing. Now, we can fight about that for a little while because we like to think we know what we're doing.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They really know what they're doing.
Oh, well, okay. Really?
All of you.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. Has it been different work? And now here they're going to tell me that the show is over. But answer this question quickly. How different has it been working with women than working with men? I mean, we're all women, and many groups are all male. So what have been some of the major differences? You got a minute to answer that.
Okay, quickly and honestly, I will say, actually, I found no different. And I think before this show, I would have never said that. Okay, having done it, now I can truly say, no difference.
I mean, you've come to realize, if you didn't realize before, that women are as intense, are as intelligent, are as committed, are as thorough, are as crazy as we are about creating work as men are. I mean, you know, we do this.
9 daughters.
You got 9. So answer these questions. Well, I didn't tell you at the beginning. Yeah, that's right. I should have saved that time. All right, listen. I want to make sure we understand. This show is going to air after the show, because the show will, the opening is the 23rd of February, and this will air after that. So let us know about the closing. Let us know about the artist talk, and let us know about the hands-on workshop for the youth, the address, how to get there, and where it is.
The show is at 1368 Fulton Street in Brooklyn. It's between the avenues of New York and Brooklyn Avenues, and easily accessible by the A and C trains. The artist talk is going to be on March the 8th from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., in which all the women will be there to discuss what they feel about female aesthetics. And also the Visual Arts for Youth workshop will happen on March 22nd, and that will be a hands-on workshop for the youth about art.
And the reception?
The opening reception is February the 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. Now, to date, there's been no talk about a closing reception because the show will close on March 29th. And that's where we are this minute.
Now tell us a bit about Restoration. You only have a few seconds if you want to, because it's their 40th anniversary this year.
This is Restoration's 40th anniversary, and I think in keeping with that, I will say that having them around for 40 years in the community, it's also good that we have women around for 40 years in the community, talking to them and keeping that communal spirit alive.
Thank you. I've been making art all of my life, and I've never known anything about women can't do this or can't do that. I mean, I grew up in a house where I watched my father paint, and he never said, "Oh, you girls can't paint." So making art is like, you know, combing my hair and putting on my clothes and eating food. It's part of my life. I've made sculpture and anything my heart takes me to, that's what I make. And we're about to go off the air, but I would like some of the other women to just, you know, you said it best when you said, you know, there was no difference. I mean, there are differences between men and women. We know that.
Yeah.
But what women are as artists, I think it misses a lot of people. I think so many people are prepared to say that it's a hobby, or she's just playing, or she's just doing, or she's occupying, or she's just doing that. She's not really serious.
Keeping herself busy.
Yeah, and anybody, not a long thing, because we don't have that much time, but just a few words to the public about what makes us tick as artists.
I can relate to when you said that you were not brought up in a household where you were held back from what you always believed as a woman, or your capabilities. My family was pretty conservative about the fact that I was an artist. So I had to realize it through myself and through others around me. There were those in the family who were creatively bound, but most of the time the family and friends, I think of my particular generation, they thought, oh, well, you know, she's going to get married and have 5 kids. And this is only going to be decoration on the walls. They didn't think that you were going to take it to a professional level where you were going to exhibit work, where you would negotiate your work, where you would price your work, where you'd be able to talk about your work, or even go to school for it. So the idea of going to school for it is something that is very new to many women, and it's still kind of new because even this generation thinks that art is more, oh, well, you know, it's fun to do, but you're going to get a job afterwards. And I think we have changed a lot of those ideas, but it's still ingrained in society's, the back of society's mind, that whatever you do, you're not going to take it too seriously. Not unless you really, you know, unless they see that you are, only when you have proven yourself do they actually take you seriously. And that's a bit of a shame.
But in my own process and in the work of others, there is a sense of play. And I think there's great dignity and power and prayer in play. When men do sports, I mean, that was something that they played at as boys, and it's dignified for the rest of their lives, but often girls give up their games. So double dutch doesn't, you know, although recently
when you're older.
It's been honored. So I think play is maybe part of a female aesthetic. And I would say that play is serious, and that play has dignity, and that play has awesome power and beauty and release in it.
And on that note, I'm going to say good night to our audience. I'm going to thank the ladies for gracing our stage tonight.
Thank you for having us.
And I look forward to seeing you next week at the opening. And good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Link.